Hello and welcome back to One More for the Road, a series of podcasts where my good friend Ariopolis and I get together and we speak on things mostly gaming related, but honestly we cover all sorts of media and varying topics as well. Today we've got a bit of a special episode. This one in many respects might actually be a little bit different from our usual sort of, review retrospective type of videos, because there is a very special place in our hearts for the game known as The Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky, the Third.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This game is it's important, I think. Like it's and like you'll have heard, you know, you'll have heard me saying something before the intro. I've got it you'll have heard me say something about this before the intro, but I don't actually really like this game.
Yeah.
But this game is something that I think is I think it's the most it's one that I'm very emotionally invested in.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. But before we get into it, you know what we got to start every podcast with?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yes.
It's our top three. What is our top three?
Our top three today is Bleach characters. If you're not familiar with Bleach, hey, listen, it's time to... Well, it's not, you know, what we use to make sure that your clothes stay white, okay? Like, and you also definitely do not drink this substance, all right? None of that.
No.
It is the shonen anime.
It's the shonen anime. I do love Bleach.
Yeah, Bleach is great.
I have some Bleach, the laundry detergent, because...
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know where it is because I don't think I've used it in like 3 years, but I know there's a bottle around here somewhere.
No whites in the laundry, huh?
Well, I have them, but like, you know, like they're all undershirts. So like I just wash them
right.
with, you know, the darks because who cares?
Yeah, you know what? That's fair.
Like, and how long has it been since I've worn a button down in public?
Also a fair point.
Oh God, it's been so long since I've had to be presentable.
I definitely feel that. I don't think I know anything besides graphic tees right now.
I don't know if you know this, but I used to. I was a teacher for in the before times.
Oh,
and so like 90% of my wardrobe going into the pandemic was collared T-shirts.
Okay.
Okay. I wasn't quite like on Doug Funny levels of having the same outfit, but like I owned 4 copies of the exact same pair of corduroys.
Right.
And just a bunch of button-down shirts and sweater vests.
Wow.
Do you know Doug Funny?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Okay. Every so often I reference the cartoon show Doug, and people don't know what I'm talking about. And then I just evaporate from old age. Bleach characters.
Ooh. Yes. Who are your 3?
Oh God, that's actually a really hard question. I'm gonna say probably I really like Orihime, actually.
Oh, whoa. I actually think that might actually be a hot take.
That's my blazing hot take, I guess, of the day. I love Orihime. She's okay, and it's mostly because of the Goodbye Halcyon Days episode.
Yeah.
Like that. That is probably legitimately one of the best single episodes of shonen anime. Like just period.
Yep. To this day. Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I think she has a good character arc. I like the fact that she's introduced to us by eating an entire loaf of bread.
That sounds familiar.
And yeah, we'll get to that later. And I don't know. I just like her, man. She's cool.
Yeah, she's great. Okay.
God, past her. This is actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. Is it weird? Is it weird to say Aizen?
No, yo,
'Cause,
honestly, like, listen,
it's a
there are
good
so many
villain.
people. Exactly. There's so many characters I feel like kind of, even though Aizen himself isn't exactly an original villain, like, he's the big mastermind. Oh, it was me all along, and he's so
Mhm.
smart and all this other stuff. Very capable individual. I also feel like Aizen, since like his I guess his reveal as the villain and so on and so forth, like there are a lot of characters in media in general that have kind of modeled themselves like after him as well. Like, and it's
Mhm.
usually in like one, if not a couple of different ways. It's a character who is evidently evil, but they've got slicked back hair. Oh, it's a character that wore glasses, and they'll do the thing where they push up the glasses and they get
Oh
the little
yeah.
glints and yeah, and then they finally have the reveal. They take the glasses off, and they got this like sinister look in their eyes. Like Eisen definitely set a sort of like standard in a way for certain kinds of villains, depending on the narrative.
Oh yeah.
So no, he's great. He's great.
I was just a big fan of him in the final arc. Where he's basically like duct taped to a chair the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like the main villain from that arc, whose name I do not know how to pronounce, was like still terrified of him. He's like, he's just in a chair.
Yeah. I remember some of the
life.
memes.
Dude, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I just like that even after his like defeat, he still had a presence in the story and like relevance in the actual like conclusion. I have not watched the anime that's covering that arc.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't touched it.
Yeah, I don't have Disney Plus.
Well, in the States, I think it's on Hulu.
Well, I don't have Hulu. I haven't had Hulu since they decided that there was a paid tier that had ads in it.
Oh,
because
what?
I saw an ad, right? I saw an ad, and I'm like, I pay you money every month, so I don't have to see ads ever.
Oh my goodness!
And so they're like, oh yeah, this is our new thing. You have to pay an extra like $5. I'm like, now I'm getting rid of
Yeah.
it.
What?
Oh man, the actual second I read that Netflix was doing ad-supported tiers, I canceled Netflix.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was like, no, I will simply pirate it.
Oh my god.
I do not care. But yeah, so there's those two, and I'm gonna say, Ichigo's dad.
Ooh, Ishin,
whose name escapes me right now.
Good old I think it's Ishin.
Ishin. Yeah, that sounds correct. Because I don't know, he starts off as like this goofball character, and then like we find out that he's like, oh, he was a soul reaper, and oh, he's actually super good, and so he like did the Ichigo training arc, and I don't know, he had a cool arc.
Yeah, I agree. And what kind of blew my mind, and I don't remember if it got explored at all, but like he has Getsuga Tensho. And I always thought that was like really, really interesting, because I guess we'd never really seen, like I guess abilities from parents kind of like transferred down to other people, right? Like every like captain or every other Shinigami that we've seen kind of had like their own thing going on, and there never really seemed to be some sort of like chain of that afterwards, because we didn't have like families like that, right? Everybody was just kind of like friends. And so to sort of have like Ishin sort of show up, and he's like, check it out, I can also do like the big energy wave thing. I was like, well, wait, like this isn't like a an ability unique to Ichigo, like technically he got it from you and he doesn't even know. Like that's crazy. And I don't know if we ever learned like his sword's name either or anything like that. Like I really wonder. Question. Because again, like everything is, or at least we're taught that like everything is kind of unique based on the soul of the person, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever abilities you kind of get. It's like, huh.
See, the trick with that is it kind of makes sense that Ichigo would be the exception, where he does have an inherited ability.
Of course.
But, spoiler, he's my bottom one character. Spoiler,
Yeah.
he's my least favorite character in Bleach, which sucks.
Understandably. I love him, but I get you.
Yeah. What are your top three?
My top three characters, I'll go in like backwards order. I'll start with Nemu, actually. She's the assistant to the crazy professor captain.
Yeah.
I love her because she's
great.
nonsense. Like I'll never forget when I saw her turn like one of her hands into like a drill and just started like punching holes in the ground and whatever. And I was like, what is like, are you a robot? Like, what's going on here?
She's great. I freaking love her.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Next up is probably Urahara, to be honest. I wish we got more of him.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, like
he did some filler.
That is true. He does. I remember being like, whoa, like I was super mind blown. Anytime I see it, the scene where he saves Ichigo from the first appearance of Ulquiorra and the other big guy, I forget his name already.
Oh, Yami.
Yeah, and like he shows up and he actually like uses his Zanpakuto abilities. I'm like, wow, like you've been this strong the whole time. That's crazy. And yeah, I wish we got more of that. And then of course, aside from that, like he's a goofball and so on and so forth, all that good stuff.
I like his hat.
Yeah, the hat is cool. And like it never dawned on me when I was watching the series as a kid, but like I also like that you see pretty much as soon as you first meet him that he probably was a captain or is at least like captain level because of the fact like his cloak is like just inverted colors of a captain's cloak. Yeah,
I didn't even put that together.
Yeah, go take a peek sometime. It's literally just where the black is, it's white and vice versa. Like that's it. Yeah, and my number one, and this is mostly for the memes to be honest, but like Byakuya kills me. He is the funniest unfunny character for me. I think about just like how many people, of course, like he's got a reputation, right? So everybody likes to challenge Byakuya. Yeah. And like it kills me how just unbothered he is by most things. And so like he'll be fighting against whatever, and they'll be like, haha, I've got the upper hand, Byakuya Kuchiki. And then he's just like, all right, check this out. And he just turns his wrist upside down and he drops his sword to the ground. And all you hear is, Bankai, Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi. And it's just over. And you just lose. And it just, dude, it kills me.
If he even bothers with the Bankai.
Right, if he even bothers. It just, I love it so much.
Dude's a legend. All right, who's your least favorite?
Ooh, least favorite.
I think we're adding this. We're doing like a top 3, bottom 1. I think this is like this has been a good tradition for the last few episodes.
That's extremely fair. Dang, bottom 1. It's crazy, and it's honestly because I think this character, like I had so much expectation for this character. I actually am no longer a big like Toshiro Hitsugaya fan.
What?
Yeah, like trust me, I want to love him to pieces. He's so cool. Like, yeah, I think if I were to pick up a pen and like be designing characters, like he is like a character like him is absolutely within like the way I think. Absolutely. But then like everything he does in this series ends up being useless. And I hate it. It sucks because it looks so cool, but then like I think about, okay, he's got like Ice Dragon. The Ice Dragon like seems to move really slow. And if he encases anybody in ice, they always break out of it. And et cetera, et cetera. And like he's, you get to meet him and he's like touted as some prodigy child and whatever. He's like the youngest captain and he's supposed to be like, he's a captain. So he's automatically like looked at as one of the strongest. And he just isn't. And it sucks. So I kind of got him down there. Yeah.
I think something that I just now kind of put together, has he ever succeeded?
No, at least not that I recall.
Like,
I mean, okay.
Go ahead.
I think maybe in like the Fullbring arc, because he goes up against the kid who has like the PSP as like his release or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think he wins out there, but I don't remember the details of that fight, because I wouldn't be surprised to learn like he encased something he did in ice and the ice just got broken.
He literally like just talked his way through that fight.
Oh my god.
He rolled charisma and he got a 20.
Had like God. Yeah, I don't recall anything he does actually being effective.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got to stop talking about Bleach.
Yes,
we got to stop talking about Bleach because it's time. This is my white whale, right? Like I am Captain Ahab. This review is my white whale right here.
Let's freaking go.
I've been trying to do this forever. Let's talk The Legend Heroes Trails in the Sky the Third, and let's start with the story of this game. And thank God there's not a lot of it.
Honestly, yeah.
This game starts off in Gransel.
Yeah.
And we're like chasing Gilbert around. Oh, we're playing as Kevin Graham, the priest from the previous game.
Mm-hmm.
And
there we are.
Who's he hanging out with in the prologue? Is Reese there?
Reese shows up later, because I believe actually where this starts is Tita's mom, who I'm forgetting her name,
Erica.
But she finds, okay, there we go. She finds an artifact.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin comes to retrieve it. Reese makes her appearance when they're like down below the Church of Gransel, I believe. Yeah. This is, oh man, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to actually like timeline place, because I know afterwards, of course, is when the Gilbert chase happens.
Yeah.
Reese is definitely, was obviously.
Well, it all happens like pretty quickly in succession.
Yeah.
So like Gilbert like shows up, but like he crash landed or something, and like he's like causing problems out on the docks after we get the artifact or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go and deal with him, and we beat the crap out of him, and then not Love shows up with his stupid orange mask, and he's like, I have the box of mystery, and then we all go into the box of mystery and we start the game. And then we get that puts us in the garden of stuff.
Yeah, the good old garden.
Our notes are great for this. I actually like the garden. It's a phenomenal hub world. Well, here's actually something we actually have to specify. This game is very different from the other Trails games in the series, where
indeed
the others are more traditional RPGs where you go from town to town and like you're on a more or less linear path. But this, you have a hub world, and you're going, it's not quite like Metroidvania-ing, but you're like there's like a layer of like almost dungeon crawling, kind of like, like you're given the first floor, and it's like, okay, cool, explore this entire floor and like map it out, because really the objective for our characters are to get the heck out of there, right? They're trying to go back home, and so they'll map out each floor kind of, and usually at the end they find what were they called? These like little like gems. Yeah, the gotcha gems. Gotcha currency. I don't know.
I love that.
Ceiling
I'll
stones.
totally address them as that.
I think the technical name is ceiling stones. I always refer to them as gotcha currency.
I love that.
Well, yeah, I thought it was random.
Right.
No one corrected me.
That's funny.
So like honestly, no one.
That would be cool if they actually did orchestrate it like that. Just random every time, though. It would.
Because like you got the characters in like the order, and like when you got the character, generally you needed them to progress through whatever. Like they were the key, quote unquote, to get through the door to the next floor of the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was fine, Yeah. The game basically takes place on a series of bright, neon hallways and reused assets from the previous two games, which is fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I do have to emphasize this. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
But like, because this was basically like the Majora's Mask situation where they didn't have, like, I guess they just didn't have the resources to put a ton of new stuff in, even though there are a lot of interesting, cool new monster designs. Like almost all of the areas, are reused, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a literal choice or literally like it was dev crunch. Like they're like, all right, we because we'll get to that later. But like, so yeah, so like we go through like hallway and we find Chloe and Tita, and there's side doors that give us epilogues, which we'll get to, and we're going through and we go to like Grand Soul and we go to like Lemon and we go to like a bunch of other places. And as we're going through, we learn Kevin's backstory, which is very sad.
God, it is sad.
It's just really sad. And I'm like, and it explains like Kevin is an unlikable jerk.
You could say that again.
But we know why he is now. We know why he's the way he is, why he doesn't let people get close. And we've got the Lord of Nonsense. The Lord of Phantasma, because we're in Phantasma, or I think that's the name of the place, right?
Yep.
The Lord of Nonsense, I refuse to call them by their proper title, is like showing up periodically and like, I've made this game for you. Would you like to play? And they're like this comic relief villain almost. And not Lowe, because it's not Love. He's got a mask on. And we spent 2 whole games getting Love to take off a mask. So obviously it can't be Love because he's got the mask again.
There's no way.
It's impossible. And so they're like menacing them and summoning demons to act as bosses. And it's all very video gamey.
Yes.
But it's like that on purpose. And so we learned that, Kevin killed his big sister / mom figure and also his mom, maybe?
Yes, I do believe he killed his mom.
Yeah. And he's got a stigma now, and his stigma's the stigma is like a magic church power or whatever. And like we go through a bunch of stuff, and then one of the levels in their video game is literally hell. And so the gang goes to hell so Kevin can work through his stuff.
Yeah. Also, to get a little, it's obviously sensitive, so be wary here, listeners, but so his mom had tried to take them both out, and
yes,
he manages to escape it, but when he came back for her, she was gone. Yeah.
We should make sure. I'll make sure to add some content warnings to the beginning of this podcast.
For sure. It's dark in here.
Oh yeah, could you actually add that to the notes for me? That would be phenomenal.
Got you.
Thank you. So yeah, like the story really is dark. Like it takes itself very seriously, and I think it's really well handled as well. I don't care about Kevin.
Right. Like of all people, why are we looking at Kevin right now?
Right. So anyway, he's going around with Reese, his other adoptive sister, / sister, and and she's going through all this, and they kind of reveal that the Lord of Nonsense, oh my god, it's actually wait, what's her name?
Rufina.
I'm so glad you remember things.
I got you sometimes.
So the Lord of Nonsense is actually Rufina, and she's here to punish Kevin. And Reese, Rufina's little sister, is like, no, Kevin's the Kingdom Hearts is light. She jumps into the hell that
pretty much, yeah.
She jumps into hell, and then Kevin has to go jump after her, and then the gang goes to hell. All right, now we're back to where I was talking about.
Yes.
And so Kevin like goes through hell, like literal, like this amalgamation of like projected hell and Phantasma. Oh, Phantasma is basically the realm inside the space Septarion.
Yes.
Which, okay, so the Septarion are like the 7 holy artifacts, one of which, each of which is representing one specific type of Sepith. And the space one was the doohickey that was basically the MacGuffin of first and second chapter.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, that was the whole reason for the LibreArc thing. And this is like the space kind of inside of it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And without, and basically like it's kind of like going wild because, and like it's pulled in a ton of people, and because the LibreArc being destroyed, like it was being like the whole Phantasma thing was like basically a program, created by the old civilization, and a bunch of stuff happened, and it went insane. Like some sort of AI or whatever went crazy, and it's like, I just want to pull everyone in here, and everyone gets to live their best life.
Yep.
Is the TLDR.
Yeah, basically.
It's not really important.
Yeah.
Kevin goes to hell. All right, I will get through this section, I swear to God.
I believe in you. You got this.
So Kevin's like, oh, this is the child I murdered because of the church, and this is another person I killed because of the church. And he's like, I'm a monster. And then George Wise Guy comes out of a door. He's like, you are a monster. Would you like to hang out with me? I will perfect your seal thingy.
Yeah. Yeah, you really showed up to just be like, hey, whoa, hold on. I'm not the villain this time. I'm just here to kind of antagonize you just a little bit because you killed me.
And then Kevin's like, no, because Kingdom Hearts is light. And then like his oh God, what is it? His stupid seal power. What is it called again?
Oh, the stigma.
Stigma. I was like, it's an S word. I swear to God.
Yeah.
His stigma goes from red to blue, and then he gets a cool new ability, and he kills some demons and Wise Guy.
Yep.
Again. Yep. Look. Not everyone gets to kill an Ongui of Ouroboros twice.
Oh my God, is that how you say that word?
I have no idea. Okay. That's how I've been pronouncing it.
I've been saying it like with the S, like anguisse. The entire time. I've been saying it like that, but anguisse suddenly sounds like it makes so much more sense. Words
are hard, man.
Damn you, Trails.
Damn you, Trails. Look, Cold Steel is the first one with English voice acting. So there's a lot of words, and I'm like, that is not how you pronounce it. I ignore what you just said, game, and I substitute my own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, whatever, it's fine. So yeah, so Kevin gets to do that, and it's pretty sweet. And then Kevin's like, Reese is like, I knew you could do it, Kevin. And Kevin's like, got him. And then they walk out of hell, and they go to they are told they're allowed to go to the final dungeon by Celeste, the AI that runs the place, which is Chloe's ancestor that we stole the identity of so we could get into certain parts of the LibreArc in the second game.
Yeah, nice little callback there, I suppose, you know?
Yeah, I thought it was neat.
Yeah.
So we've got like 16 characters at this point. You know, you've got fan favorites like Estelle and Josh and Tita, and then you have other characters like Julia, who's playable in this game, which I think is really cool.
Agreed.
And like basically anyone. Yeah, Mueller, Josette.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Ren.
Yep. Oh
Ren
yeah. Ren was a great addition.
Oh my God, Ren was so good at everything. And so everyone's like, oh, we get to go to the final dungeon, but nope, there's a secret. You're not ready to go to the final dungeon because all of your characters are not leveled. So you have to spend like 4 hours grinding out the super cool bonus dungeon to get all your characters properly leveled.
Yep.
And then you have to spend a bunch of money and time getting their quartz together and their equipment together. And I hated it. Because you have to go through. The last dungeon is 4 sections. Yeah. And you have to use all 16 characters. They all get their own final boss.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And obviously there's one boss, which is the actual final boss. But like there's 3 mini final bosses. And it's great.
Yeah, you're bringing back some repressed memories right now.
Oh man, like I said, like it's very dungeon crawlery, and it's the only game that requires grinding.
Yeah,
and I hate it. I actively hate it.
I remember it too, right? Like Mira was a limited resource because like enemies didn't regularly, I don't think, like drop Mira for you. You had to pretty much grind the like Sepith out of them and then going like, oh my goodness. It was, you had to micromanage like crazy in this game, which I mean, if that's your thing, great. But it's not casual friendly for that.
Granted, that's only at the end.
Yeah.
Like it's only at the end, and only if, like me, you didn't utilize all the characters all the time. Like I had a core, once I had like a core set of characters I was allowed to use, that was my squad. Yeah.
Like I'll tell you now, like Josette for me absolutely took the back seat.
I liked Josette. She doesn't do numbers.
Yeah.
Like Josette's just, I loved her kit. All of her numbers were like 20% lower than everyone else's. She just sucked. She had awful stats.
Yeah.
Which is annoying. But no, I used Tita and Ren. For literally everything. They were like, that was like my combo. I'm like, if these two can't handle it, it's immortal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I spent entirely too long like farming encounters in general as well because of the doors later, which we'll get to. We'll get to the doors, don't worry.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, we go to the final castle and it's very dramatic, and Kevin realizes that it's not actually Rumafera. It's the Lord of Nonsense is actually just a manifestation of his own stigma powers. And the reason it acts like a comical, Saturday morning villain, cartoon villain, is because that's how Kevin saw himself. And so we beat up a manifestation of Kevin's inner turmoil, and then Estelle and Josh steal the rest of the epilogue for themselves.
Yep, pretty much. God, I'll never forget that reveal too. And I think what really got me about the fact that it ended up being him the entire time is that he makes it known to everybody pretty much very early on that he knows what's going on. He just doesn't want to say it. He doesn't want to come to terms to it. And I guess it's like part of his struggle throughout the game. And it's like, oh, okay, like I kind of get that. I just think the way he goes about it is just all sorts of silly. Like, Kevin, if you don't open your mouth right now and talk.
It's one thing that this series is extremely bad about, and I understand why they do it, is characters just do not tell each other things.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we've both played Cold Steel.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Emma.
Oh, yeah.
Emma knows the whole damn plot of that game.
Oh, yeah.
From day one. And, like, does not, like, nothing, like, she never... I'm sorry.
She just doesn't say anything.
Yeah. And like, there's so many characters that are just guilty of this. They're like, they have like a ... It's like, oh, do you know? And like, nah, it's okay.
Yeah.
And like, I get it. It's a useful like tool to let us know that they know. But there's like a lot of situations that could have just been better.
Like, I honestly think that the only person who does that and then actually follows up, at least at some point, is Sarah. Like, I literally, because the story, the way the story pads out in Cold Steel, from what I remember, like, you know, for example, of course, Class 7 is like a big, like, oh, hey, we're secretly training you to be like bracers, right? So then comes the time when the students themselves, they are reminded of the presence of bracers. And they're like, oh, yeah, like, wait a second, like, what we're doing is very similar to the bracers. So when the class puts that together, then Sarah's like, okay, yeah, hey, here's some additional context for that thing you just discovered. And then that transitions also as well into like when they actually go to the Bracer Guild in I almost said Ruhr. It's not Ruhr. It's yes, there was there. And then also for the ceremony as well in oh my god, big city Heimdall, I believe. Heimdall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they like stay a night or two or whatever. This is when like both sections of the class like go to one spot, but they're in different locations. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they were like, oh yeah, we're staying at a bracer or old bracer guild.
Yeah,
and there was a whole thing
both
there.
Sections are.
Yeah, so I think that's the only like I think she's the only character who like adds additional context to the things that she otherwise withheld at various points in the story. Thank you, Sarah.
I'm going to give you another example of a character, and this is going to make so much more sense to you once you think about it.
Yeah.
Lloyd Bannings, he'll play things close to the chest for a minute, but he'll always, like the second he's like, okay, people need this information, he will give them that information.
Yes.
He does not withhold information.
Thank God.
To the party.
Yeah.
Lloyd Bannings is very good about that.
Thank you, Lloyd Fumble the Bag Bannings.
and professional bag fumbler Bannings. He like, because you'll see multiple situations where he'll be like, hold on, because he won't be like 100% sure, and even when he's not, he'll be like, okay, hold on, I think I know what's going on. And then he'll be like, okay, team huddle.
Yeah. Every time. Yeah.
Lloyd's just the best pro tag.
He's actually him. And it sucks.
It's a shame he's a cop.
Yeah. Right.
I was reminded about something recently, speaking of which, okay, I'm going to make a general assumption, but you have probably never actually read or watched Twilight.
I watched a movie. Yeah, like the first movie, I think.
Okay, you remember Belle's dad, the cop?
Absolutely not.
Never mind. Well, neither did the books. It's fine.
Oop.
He's like, the problem is he's like the one human character that's in all four books.
Oh, I see.
And like, it sucks because like his whole life gets like basically ruined by the events. But like, I kind of want to feel bad, but also he's a cop, so whatever. But like, it's not important to him. Like, Lloyd being a cop is extremely central to Lloyd's character.
Yes.
But what about characters that are cops, but it's not important, like that guy?
Yeah.
I mean, still, he's included, but you could feel sorry for him.
Right. 100%.
Anyway, this distraction is basically because I don't want to talk about how Estelle and Josh keep stealing people's epilogues.
That's fair. I mean,
Like,
God, there's no way they do it in Azure, right? There's no possible way.
no, they're very busy. They're very busy putting Ren through school. God, I hope.
Oh.
So yeah, we still have not beaten Azure. Have you done chapter 2?
I'm still in the middle of it. Like, I think I'm gonna get to the sort of climax. Yeah, the main conflict of it.
Oh boy, that sounds exciting. Yeah, I have not played it in a week, and it's driving me a little crazy. I've been on break. Yeah. This is like the first like stream or recording thing I've done since like last week. Basically when we recorded last week's podcast.
Pretty much.
That was the last thing I did, and now it's the first thing I'm doing. It's been kind of great though, I gotta say. I've gotten a lot of cleaning done. It's nice.
I could actually hear it in your voice when we got together. You sound a little more relaxed in some ways.
I haven't been straining my voice, so like I'm very relaxed. I'm very chill.
That might do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've just been sitting here with the cats for like staring. I've been sitting here with the cats watching The Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
But yeah, so like that happens, and then everyone kind of goes their separate ways, and crisis averted, right? Yay!
Yeah, of course.
But like the story for this game, even though we took just a half hour, we took a whole half hour to talk about it with a lot of asides, but like it's not the main draw for this game.
Yeah.
The main draw is in the side content. The doors. If you ever hear anyone talking about star doors or moon doors or sun doors or whatever, this is the game they're talking about. There are, because again, it's all very video gamey. They are little like doors, like physical doors that inside the door is side content.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want. but like this, and this is the part, this part right here is why I think this game is just more series need a game like this, because they're all epilogues and like conclusions and backstory and like world building for all the characters. Like almost every named character that doesn't have a main like thing moving forward has an epilogue.
Yeah.
This
is a big wrap-up game. Yeah.
It's insane. Or like we see like some backstory. The first door we run into is for Tita.
Yeah.
And that gives her and Agate some epilogue. And like it shows what happens after second chapter. Agate's, hanging out and shows up periodically and is big brothering or whatever.
Yeah.
And
they're like working on some project, I think, with oh my gosh, what's the professor's name? Well,
Russell.
Grandpa.
Professor Russell.
Oh my, I never thought I'd miss a Dr. Wily clone like this before. That's
God, I love Dr. Wily, dude. Right? I always, the second I saw him, I'm like, why is Dr. Wily here? Am I gonna have to fight 8 robot masters?
Right? I think I merged him and like Heihachi in my head.
Yeah, so like we have that, and it's hilarious objectively. And then there's a really long one with Chloe.
Yeah,
which introduces Lecter.
Yes,
who's a major character in a bunch of future games.
Can you believe that you can really play through this game and like past the first Tita one, not see any of it? Like that's crazy.
The Tita door, I think, is required.
Yeah, the first of her doors is required because, of course, it introduces the door system to you. But then you can just ignore the rest. Yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like
Like, who do they think they are?
Yeah, like you get Phantom Thief B lore.
Mm-hmm.
You get his actual factual backstory.
Yeah, and even his lore is still kind of like up in mystery. Like there were what, like 3 different theories as to why it is he steals things, and like all of the theories are pretty compelling.
Mm-hmm. Well, he basically confirms which one was accurate.
Yeah.
Because it was like X, Y, and Z theories, and he's like, the one that matches my number is the correct one, and then like, so it was obviously X, which I think was like the noble tired of nobling,
basically. Yeah.
We learn about Kevin's cool salt arrow, the salt pail.
Yeah, and like where that came from and stuff.
Terrifying.
Yeah, like that sounded like a like what the Drakengard like Nier Automata story to me.
It did. That's it was
nuts.
Wild. Like because it's basically like a big pillar shows up, and then everything around it's turned to salt.
Yeah, it just melts.
Yeah,
basically,
and they like weaponized it.
Yeah,
because the church is insane.
Yep. Yo. Honestly, I'm scared for whatever might happen post, I guess, Calvard games, because I think those are going to be a thing in the future. I'm just like, so surely the last place we kind of got to like peek at, right, is got to be Remiferia, I believe it's called, where the church is, or like
that feels accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared of the church.
Oh yeah. Well, we haven't been to Lemon yet either.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, the Kuro games, to my knowledge, are in Calvard.
Right. Okay.
And so that's what I'm aware of, but I don't know anything past that. Oh, I do know they have bathrooms.
Oh, hey, huge.
Because they won an award.
No way.
They won an award, best video game bathrooms.
No freaking way.
Kuro 2. Yeah.
Well,
only country in the whole continent to have them. Fun fact.
That's wild.
I don't make the rules, man. Yeah, we get the gambler Jack backstory, which is fun and also miserable.
Yep, of course.
God, I hated that door because it's all just doing the poker game, but the poker game's hard.
Yeah, no, I had to like watch through that door because there was no way I was gonna sit there and gamble, especially not after how Zero did me. No.
Oh, you did third after Zero?
Well, no, I did Zero first, but like to go back and try and actually play through that. Yeah, no way. I had to watch through through some of the doors.
Yeah. There was a door for like how powder matter works.
Yep.
Which was kind of neat.
Yeah, that was neat. Got into the some of the details on the experiments on Ren and just the capacity required to control like one of those units. I forget what Pattermater's like specific kind of unit is called, but you do need a certain kind of like aptitude for it. So that was kind of interesting to delve into. Got a little more understanding on that robot and how his connection to Ren is actually pretty substantial, at least as long as you're like focusing on those two and sort of kind of the bits and pieces around them.
Yeah, and speaking of Ren, we did get her backstory as well with Star Door 15 Paradise.
Yeah, Paradise.
So you remember that content warning? That content warning from a while ago?
Yeah, right here.
This caught me straight up off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Because people would not shut up about it. All right.
Right.
Literally would not shut up about it. They're like, oh my God, Star Door 15. It's the best Star Door. It's blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right, first off, it's not the best Star Door. That's the Lecter one. Like,
right.
Just straight up. Yeah. Like it's so the TLDR is Ren was a victim of a cult, uh, where she was basically drugged, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and abused.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to get into it. If you're really interested, don't look it up, or you already
Hey.
know.
Yeah.
And it's awful because like she basically created like multiple personalities to deal with what's going on. At least that's my interpretation of like the kids.
I believe I was told later that each of those kids do or did exist, but I guess she was like also replacing them mentally because I think one day they basically are like all gone. But
Mm-hmm.
then kind of sort of suddenly almost they kind of like reappear to her, and I think at that point they're figments of her imagination and like integrated as parts of her personality to help her cope.
Okay, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, so we find out like all that happened, and Josh and Loe, I guess, rescued her from that.
Yes.
Uh, and that was also part of the DG cult. We learn later in Zero.
Yes.
Uh, so
There's a lot.
there's a lot there, yeah, and it's
And
awful, and
yeah. And fittingly so, like you find this door in like literally the bottomest pit of Gehenna or hell.
yeah, it's in
And
the abyss.
yeah, and like odds are, like if you are doing some sort of like completionist run or something like that, like this is the last door you find.
I believe that was the door. What was the requirement for that door? Was
Um,
that the 400 battles?
Good question. I actually
Oh,
should have that up.
all of the doors had requirements to open them
Yes,
of
that they did.
various complications.
Yeah.
One of them was 400 battles, which is fortunate because you need to grind in the abyss
Oh yeah.
to get everyone leveled anyway.
Oh, you only need to have Ren with you when you pull up to that particular door.
Oh, that one's like free.
Yeah, that one is
What's the
free.
400 battle door?
Star Door 13, Assault on the Imperial Guilds.
Oh, the Cassius Bright door. That's the
Yes, yes, it
Cassius
is.
Bright blowing up Erebonia door.
Yep, correct.
I remember that. And then,
Wild.
oh, the last one that you have to do, the one you have to do last, because I think you have to have seen all the other doors to see it.
Yeah, yep. Star Door
Is
14.
the Phantasmal Blaze plan.
Yeah.
Do you want to tackle this?
Yo, I don't even know where to begin. Like some aspects of it kind of confuses me, but like you do get a scene where and I'm kind of gonna blanket this just as a little warning, but like you kind of are given a scene of Campanella, who we know is one of the members of Ouroboros. He is, I think, what, number 0, the Fool. I hate him. But he actually goes to, isn't it their like flying fortress or something similar? Like
Yeah,
in
it's the fortress, the big red
okay,
flying one. I don't remember the Glorious.
right, yeah, okay. Oh yes, I believe you're right. And he like, he pulls up and he plays a few notes on the organ and he's like, check this out. And then like the entire room, I'm pretty sure, like transforms basically. And he ends up being on like a good old like Discord or Skype call with the other on Guise.
Yeah,
When I say it
them.
like that, I guess
Sure.
of well, I don't know. I guess they're like a separate entity from Ouroboros, right? Like Ouroboros are kind of like their lackeys, or at least Wiseman's lackeys. It's a
Well,
weird.
Ouroboros is like the overall organization.
Okay,
So you have like the Grand Master on top, you have the Ongui below them, and then you have the
yeah,
Enforcers, which the Enforcers
there we
aren't
go.
like are like the tier below, but like
Right,
there's not
like
a
hierarchy,
real
I
like
guess.
hierarchy. They're all just kind of
Yeah,
evil dudes and ladies and
right.
kind of doing evil.
Yeah, yeah. And so they all get on this call and they're just kind of talking about how like things seem to have been going, whatever. But like, um, I know for a fact there was something about the conversation that did unsettle me. I was like, oh, wait a second, like this is nuts, but I can't recall what.
I'd have to sit down and like really like go through that again with a fine-tooth comb, because like they talk about the Phantasmal Blaze plan starting soon, and like I'm very concerned as to like, because if this was like, they're like, oh, the opening act is over, blah blah blah, and George Wise Guy is dead. Well, I didn't like George Wise Guy. Well, right. No one did, so nothing lost, I guess. And it's kind of wild. Like it definitely feels like this is the conversation that you'll be able to look back on once the series is over, and everything in that conversation will make sense.
Yes.
Like, but when you're seeing it the first time at the end of Sky the Third, you have like almost no context.
Yeah.
And that's just wild to me that they put it there.
Right? Like, oh, it's really like a Kingdom Hearts thing with that.
Oh yeah. a bunch of villains use, evil Skype to, get into a big voice call with Gendo Ikari.
You're right.
And they get, look, not everyone gets to be in a voice call with Gendo Ikari, all right? Dude's busy.
Right.
I'm sorry. No one's watched Evangelion, so never mind.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that's a thinning crowd. You're right.
I've just made several people extremely angry, and I would love for you to type something out in the comments below. Thanks. But yeah, so like the doors are all really cool. Some of them have mini games. There's the quiz.
Oh my
goodness.
Dude,
we can't not talk about the quiz. I hated the quiz. I loved the quiz.
I peeked at that quiz and I said, I'll see you later.
Oh, I did all 3 levels of the quiz. I was wild. That's amazing. I did basically a completionist run.
I love that.
For that game.
I love that.
I did all the doors. I did everything.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. Like I said, Sky the Third it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
And it's kind of wild because of the characters, right? This is such a good segue. Let's talk about Kevin. And when I say let's, I say mean you. You should talk about Kevin, because I'm just gonna say Kevin sucks. And that's all I got.
In recent days, I've been shown a conspiracy board for somebody who's kind of sort of on pace with you and I, actually. They're playing the game too. I don't have their username, so unfortunately I couldn't give them a proper shout out today. But
editor Eric, find the username and give them a proper shout out. Thank you, editor Eric.
So they've been following along, and they made a very interesting note, and it's that you can't trust any character with green hair. And I thought about it for a second. I was like, really? Like you can't? And it actually ends up like checking out, because there's Campanella, and enough said. We absolutely can't trust him. Kevin withholds all of the secrets and all that good stuff, and we can't trust him. I don't know if we oh, actually, no, I guess the Kapuas more so have like blue hair, right? They're a little more on the blue side. Still, I'm going to give them an asterisk, because at least at first you absolutely could not trust them.
True.
And so I was like, okay, you know what? I like this. This checks out. And Kevin, like I said, Kevin absolutely falls under the umbrella of characters you cannot trust. All right.
Yeah. Kurt. Kurt's green
hair.
hair.
Oh my God, Kurt. I still think Kurt is like a sleeper agent or something.
Dude, Kurt's a main villain. I hate that man.
I'm telling you, Kurt is a mess. I don't even want to talk about. See, Kurt is somebody I'd have 2 words for, and then I would move on.
I touched a nerve on that one.
I hear Kurt and my blood pressure spikes. It's the same with Cassius.
Dude,
and like low-key Kevin as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Kevin, like on a genuine note, like Kevin is interesting, or there are things about him that can be looked at as interesting. But I feel like a lot of Kevin also is a little bit maybe too attached to the developments and movements of other people, and not in a way that typically would benefit somebody you look at as a protagonist, at least personally. I can appreciate what they're going for, especially considering like at large, Sky the Third is a big wrap up for Liberal, right? It is a big appreciation thing. It is a big like send off for other characters, right? Lots of loose ends get tied up, and you see that in the doors. But yeah, like I just for such a capable character, it is incredible to me that they also made him seem very like inept in the ways that they did. And I get also as well that some of it can be a confidence thing. I just yeah, I don't know. Kevin's the villain of his own game, and like I don't know if I was a fan.
Here's my thing with Kevin. All right, so he's the villain of his own game, and like he spends like the whole game in this like wishy-washy state of like, I don't deserve the happiness, I should just explode, and like everyone's yelling at him. It's like, no, Kevin, you're fine, whatever, you're a womanizer, but whatever, we're just gonna walk like just waves arms at Olivier in the corner, and he is, I think he's actually, and okay, this is going to run contradictory to basically what I said earlier, but not really.
Yeah.
He's the perfect person to be the lead character of this game.
I get how you mean that.
Yeah, because this game isn't about Kevin.
Yep.
This game is about all the characters. He just has but the problem is his story has to do a lot of heavy lifting for world building and setting up for the next arcs.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of church lore. There's a lot of the Astor House is a thing that exists. So there's a lot of like logistics.
Yes.
That is involved in Kevin's story that simply exists because they needed a place to be like, all right, this is how certain aspects of this world work, and you're going to need to know this moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And making Kevin that main character, making it about the church is genius. Like, but his actual arc is very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have like all of his quote unquote growth. Like he's always been as strong as he is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, your levels go up, but like Kevin isn't doing this to become stronger. Kevin is already the strongest person in the room.
Exactly.
Like he is a Cassius tier person in a room of B rankers at best.
Yes.
And that annoys me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like characters who spend a good amount of a game holding back, and like you find out later it's like, oh, I'm like final boss level strength. Oh, I'm like, you know, this strong actually. Haha.
Yeah.
Like that's something that's bothered me for a long time. I'm looking at you, Tanuzuki. Don't worry about it. It's a rant for another day. But like Kevin is the perfect choice from the existing cast to carry this game.
Yes.
And introduce us to the actual best new character, Reese.
Yeah, honestly,
I love Reese so much.
Reese is great.
She is the nun lady with a super cool chain sword.
Yeah, the Templar sword.
Oh my god, that sword's so cool. And she eats food. How much food? Yes.
All of it. Yeah.
All the food. And I love her. She's the best character. She is also tired of Kevin's nonsense.
Yep. Honestly, we were
through the game. Like halfway through the game, she's just like, "Nah, fam, you deal with this yourself. I'm gonna just hang out here in the garden.
Yep.
I'm outie 5,000."
Like she spends a good chunk of the game being like, "Hey, Kevin, let me in. Let me help you out, Kevin. Kevin, listen, you don't have to do this by yourself." And then like he continues to sort of just be like self-loathing and whatever. And so by the time he finally kind of like, starts coming around, she's like, nah, you know what? You got it. Nah.
I've been holding out this arm for like 3 chapters, and my arm's tired now.
I'm tired.
It's gonna hold a book.
Yep.
I'm gonna go eat some food at the tree. Go to hell. I love her. She's amazing. I don't really know, like, we don't get a lot on her other than the associated trauma with losing her sister.
Right. Yes, that is true. Well, we know that it's kind of because of Kevin's actions. Yeah, after Rufina passes, that she even joins the church. So I guess similarly to Kevin, like she also doesn't really want to be there, but she was kind of pushed into that because she got no answers from Kevin about what happened to her sister. And yeah, like I guess she didn't really have anywhere else to sort of like turn to, right? Like Kevin was a lifeline who walked out on her basically. And so she went to go look for answers her own way. And he gets the cold shoulder from her quite a lot, reasonably so, because of it.
Oh yeah, it perfectly makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we really touched on the Rufina at all. Really.
No, like
there's not a lot
we
to
brought
her.
up she died, but yeah, pretty much, right? Yeah, she's very one and done.
She was apparently like really awesome.
Yeah.
Was she one of the Grail sitter?
She was, I believe. Actually, by the time of her death, I can't recall. I know it was like in debate for her to be, and maybe she like rejected the position or something like that for a time.
Yeah, I think she didn't have a stigma.
Right, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, so like she was like of that caliber, but like didn't have the stigma.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And Kevin's stigma, like awakening or whatever, is what ended up being the reason she died, obviously.
Yes.
So like, and that's, yeah, I'm like, there's a lot there. I'm like trying to remember, but I think that's accurate. That feels accurate.
Yeah, no,
if
that
it's
is
not,
that
yell
is
at
correct.
us in the comments below. Like and comment the video.
Also, correcting myself,
yes.
Remiferia is apparently not the place I was thinking of. It is Arteria.
I thought Arteria was the like city. Remiferia was like the state.
Right.
But no, Arteria, that sounds accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. It just says it's in central Zemuria. Yeah. It's there.
Mm-hmm. Cool. But yeah, so like, I don't know. I like the Grahams. Wait.
Yeah.
No. Reese's last name is different.
Yes, it's Argent.
Argent, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it? Yeah, whatever.
Yep.
I was like, wait a minute. Hold that thought. Anyway. So yeah, like there was all that going on. Chloe's AI ancestor was kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yo, we got Richard lore.
Yo, yeah.
He shut up and became a family man.
Yeah, pretty
with
much.
Legitimate
and,
business.
Like, thank God. Right. Yeah, thank God for that.
I'm such a big fan of the Richard like door, the Richard epilogue. It's such a good time.
Yeah. Oh, the next time we hear about Richard, he better have like a little family started up.
Oh my God, yeah, with his lieutenant lady.
Yeah.
Whose name escapes me.
She was a freak.
She was a freak. We left her in a gutter and then she survived somehow.
Yo. Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite parts of first chapter where she's like one of the like mini bosses in the final dungeon, and then you beat her up and then you literally just kind of chuck her body off into a corner.
Yeah.
She's just in a pile.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
It's amazing. But yeah, so like Richard like starts a business. He has this conversation in the rain with like some military guy. It's like, come back to the military, Richard. You're not a real man. You gave up, man. And I'm like, my dude, you need to stop drinking.
Right.
Like Richard's like doing stuff. He's being a cool guy. I'm a fan. I liked Richard's arc here.
Yeah.
And Annalise got to beat the hell out of him.
Yo. That was cool.
Yeah, Annalise is like the granddaughter.
Yes.
Of Yun Ka Fai.
Yes.
Who is
the specialist, or like the master, the sensei of the 8 leaves, 1 blade style.
He's a cool guy.
Cool freaking guy.
I love Annalise so much.
Yeah, like, she's great.
She's probably like one of my favorite Sky side characters.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that she got so much attention in the epilogues and in this game.
Agreed. Because yeah, like I remember me saying something about her, I think for second chapter. I was like, yeah, Annalise is just kind of like here. I wish we knew a little bit more about her. And like I was wishing for more like Annalise. I wanted to connect with Annalise. And so yeah, third definitely served for that. And I was happy about that.
Absolutely, yeah. And then you've got a note about Cassius. Oh
my gosh,
I forgot. There's the freaking tournament arc where you get to beat up you have to fight Cassius and Loe?
I believe so.
Like at the same time?
Yeah, it was nuts. And then I think
and
think there's a solo fight with him too. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like in the main story, and it's because it's during the Annalise chapter, because you have to have Annalise with you.
Yes.
And dude, that fight was nuts.
I'm trying to remember if you've seen like this one particular bit of dialogue that I 100% thought about after reading it, but I don't remember. I might peek at that on the side so I don't accidentally like spoil any particular details. But there was a line he says in third, or during the main story, just before you fight him, and it like him specifically, he's not brought up in what I saw, but something that he said also kind of gets like repeated, and I was just like, wait a second. wait a second. You mean to tell me that Cassius like knows this, or like is this, or something like that? And somebody confirmed for me at the time, and I was like, no way, man. Like, he doesn't need to be stronger. Come on. Like, there's no, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, we know he's like one of the divine blades, and he uses his he's much weaker with the staff than he is with a sword. Yes. So we know that much. At least that's like the extent of my knowledge on Cassius.
Okay. Then yeah, the thing I'm thinking of, like, maybe it'll come to you later. Oh man, I gotta like double check that, because
I don't know when I read it. I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about.
It was you know what, actually. No, I don't think you've seen it yet, because you haven't done any of the requests in chapter 2 yet, right?
No.
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna table that then.
Oh my god.
Yes. So it's pretty much one of the first things you're gonna like kind of sort of learn about. You'll be able to put the pieces together at that point. Considering, of course, you are a Trails historian, much like myself now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk. It'll probably come up when we do our sort of like midway review for Azure.
I gotta catch up on that too. I gotta catch up on Azure real bad.
Yeah, fortunately for us, it'll be one of the first things like we can talk about, because you'll like as soon as you get to the requests, like you'll learn it.
Yeah. All right, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Oh, I hate Cassius.
Dude, yeah.
I can go nuts. I hate him.
Are there any other characters we want to talk about? I mean, we could talk about how Josh and Estelle stole the epilogue some more.
Yeah, let's get into that.
So Josh and Estelle are in this game. Obviously, it's Sky, and they're off having their like honeymoon or whatever over in Cat. Stop playing with my pen. They're having up in, where are they? Arabonia
Yeah,
at the time,
or like I think going to, but yes, either way, they're
or
traveling.
no, they're headed to oh yeah, they're in Arabonia. They were headed to Crossbell.
Yes.
Because Josh and Estelle start their first of multiple epilogues that they just steal in their attempt to go adopt Ren. Because Estelle had the paperwork in her hand.
Yep.
In the previous game, she's like, all right, young lady, you're going to sign the adoption papers. And Ren's like, nuh-uh. And then, flew away on her giant robot. And so, Estelle's like, all right, young lady, it's the end of the game. I've got the adoption papers right here. And she's like, nuh-uh, I'm going to go to Crossbell. And she's like, oh, you're in Crossbell. Well, I'm going to come after you. And then obviously, she goes to steal the epilogue of Zero because no one's allowed to have an epilogue while Estelle's around.
Right. Exactly. Nope. No way.
And so I'm just it's just fun. It's just fascinating. This is just a thing that happens on a reoccurring basis.
Yeah.
Oh, any other characters that are worth mentioning? The Kapuas have their own delivery service now. I want that hat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes,
dude,
please.
The hat with like just Kapua on it.
Yeah, I love that.
Wait a minute, I have a merch store. I can make this hat.
It's time.
Oh my god, it's gonna go on my to-do list of things I'm never gonna remember to do.
Let's go.
So that's cool. Anything else?
No, I don't believe so.
All right.
We touched on all the cool people. Yeah.
You're gonna get mad at me for this next part. I still haven't read the books.
What?
I'm sorry. I haven't read like any of the books other than The Dull Night.
Listen, considering I I neglected many side things across all the Trails games, I'm going to let you slide.
Okay, thank you.
I got you. Of course.
I did all of the lighthouse quests in Sky. Does that help? I talked to that old man like 30 times.
Oh my goodness. I think I also helped him every time you could.
My chat has been just screaming at me for months now to read the books.
Yo, they're good books.
I know.
They are good books. Should we still talk about them? Or we could talk about the Dull Night.
We can talk about the Dull Night. The Dull Night is basically teasing the whole Ren story.
Yeah, like that story is today relevant still.
Mm-hmm. As are most of them. And the reason we're talking about the books, there's a bunch of storybooks in the Trails games, and Sky the Third combines, like, it has all of them in the library, in the garden.
Yeah, further selling the idea that this is really like a big wrap up, like, hey, all right, goodbye kind of game.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, it's like I should sit down and I should read through them. I should just do that. They're all in the wikis. Like, I don't have to boot up the game to do it.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I'm surprised in a way that like you didn't read Gambler Jack, because I think that would make the actual doors for them kind of hit a bit harder.
I know. I just am like,
it's a lot.
Because I was trying to collect them in whichever game they were in, and then I failed to collect them, and then I'm like, oh, I'll stop. I'll read through these later, and then I just never got around to it.
Yeah. Funny enough though, like, despite me kind of being like, oh, Gambler Jack, I think of the three, I believe, major stories that you could read, it's probably like the lesser between the other two.
It's Gambler Jack, The Dull Night, and Carnelia.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you can't forget, my favorite newspaper on all of Zemuria. The liberal news. I'm sorry, I don't get to do it that often. It just makes me happy when I do. It just,
we miss you, liberal.
I do. I miss liberal and Dudley's bogus journey through it.
Oh my goodness, I love that story. I love that headcanon so much. It might be the best across the franchise.
It's such a good stupid idea. But yeah, we'll talk about, you know what? We'll talk about all the books when we're done with Cold Steel 4.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, and then of course I'll have read them all by that point. Obviously, totally have read them all. And then we can talk about how each one is relevant to their, the story overall. See, perfect.
Yeah, no, that's excellent.
Totally didn't just push that off till later.
Yep, to our dear listeners, we will most definitely follow up with you in the new year. All right, in 2024, we'll follow up with you on the books.
2024 sometime when Nisa Video Game Company has dropped Trails in the Dark.
Yo,
please let that be 2024. There's so much game.
That would be so
game. Oh. I can't. So yeah. Since we're not going to talk about the books, let's talk about the music.
Oh yeah, and how the battle theme is easily forgettable. I couldn't even tell you the first note.
It's the thing that has like that long, low guitar riff at the and it's awful.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, you're right.
In its defense, it's a perfectly serviceable standard battle theme.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's easily the worst in the franchise.
Yes.
Like, look at it. We got Sophisticated Fight. We got Get Over the Barrier.
Oof.
Which is like a top 3 RPG song of all time.
Oh yeah.
Glint of Cold Steel. Seize the Truth.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know if we talked about this. What's your take on Seize the Truth versus Get Over the Barrier? Maybe we did talk about this, but I want to talk about it again.
No, I don't believe we had. Seize the Truth, like, it's good for starters. I don't know. Sometimes I like debate with myself on whether I would like flip their placements. Like, would I play Seize the Truth during regular combat, or would I put it like for bosses?
It's a much slower intro.
Yeah.
Than Get Over the Barrier does.
Yeah.
And so it would be an amazing boss music.
Agreed.
Because you'll obviously be hearing the track for a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Seize the Truth, like the intro was much shorter, it would be at the same tier for me as Get Over the Barrier.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But that being said, the evolution version of Seize the Truth. Nelly.
Oh, it's so good.
That's good music right there. That's good music. We should do a thing where we talk about the soundtracks versus the evolution soundtracks. Like,
I'd be down
in significant detail at some point.
I would be super down. So we'll talk about that after the books.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the Cold Steel games have evolution soundtracks. I think it stops at Azure.
Fair. Dang, so much for an imposed punishment for not having read the books.
But yeah, I think the boss music is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
What is it called? Boisterous and Dreamy Holy Land or whatever. Hold on,
something like that.
I'm gonna go pull up the soundtrack so I actually have the names of things in front of me.
Sounds good.
Oh no. Come here. Oh my god, I have to scroll. Dreamy and Boisterous Holy Land, which is one of the boss musics, is really, really good. Or no, that's the final boss music.
Yes, it
and
is.
and overdosing heavenly bliss, that's like the demon boss music that starts in like chapter 2 or 4 or something in that range.
Yeah,
And
that sounds about right.
both
Yeah,
of those tracks slap.
they're really good.
I argue that Dreamy and Boisterous Holy Land is the best final boss music of the Sky trilogy, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's a high bar because Sky's final bosses all have insanely good music.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh my God, for what reason?
second chapters is like an 8-minute loop.
Yeah.
It's so good. The thing I love about the final boss music in this Dreamy Boisterous Holy Land, and this gets to this is a segue, is it has some Morse code in it.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it kind of ties into the last point I want to make. The Morse code is basically just says, "Hey, thank you for playing this. Falcom JDK loves you," or something like that.
Yep, that should be correct.
And I think every series needs a game like Sky the Third.
Mm-hmm.
Because this game is a love letter to the fans. And I gotta say, like, and I said this at the beginning, like, the most emotional part of this game wasn't Star Door 15. It's not like the whole Ren thing. It's not Estelle and Josh, threatening to adopt another small child. It's not Kevin getting over the fact that he murdered his sister. It's the chest messages in the final dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's those little thank yous throughout from the staff and like the localization team. It's the screen at the end that they're just like, "Hey, thanks for playing our game. We hope you liked it." Like, because like the people who made this game because they loved what they made and they wanted to give the players the closure that like you needed to take 60 to 80 hours of epilogue to do. And it's just wild to me because there's so many series that don't have this.
Right.
Like when the credits roll on a video game, it's over.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of that might get close to what I'm thinking is Xenoblade 3 is going to have some story DLC coming out.
Oh, yes.
And that looks like it's going to have some sort of epilogue or some sort of tie-in or something. And Xenoblade 3 was also kind of an epilogue for parts of the previous 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
But like...
yeah.
But no, like there's nothing like this game. And even though it's my least favorite Trails game, it is one of, I think, the most important games in the whole franchise.
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I feel like I cut you off in a couple times there. I just had to say that.
No, I was just going to say, like, I'm excited to see you cover the Xenoblade 3 DLC, because if that is something that comes to fruition, right, with it, tying up the loose ends and really paying off after, like, these years of buildup for all of the stories that Xenoblade has told. I'm definitely excited to see like your reception to that.
Oh man, I haven't caught up on the most recent DLC. Right. Xenoblade 3. I just haven't had the 5 minutes to put together to do it. But I'm very excited to finish that because Xenoblade, I will say that Xenoblade 3 is probably one of my favorite games that I've played. Mm-hmm. But Xenoblade 2 God, I just like both of those. I just like all three of those games. Like,
just good games. Yeah,
they're games that make me happy. Yeah. Right? Like, I cannot think about Xenoblade 2 without just smiling like an idiot. Like I'm smiling like an idiot right now, just thinking about Rex and how he's an idiot and I love him.
Right.
and he loves you. I love all you guys. Oh my God. You think Lloyd is a professional bag dropper? Dude, you have not seen my man Rex in action. I'll send you a clip. I will send you this clip.
Please.
It is hands down. If there's any one scene in the entire like 100-hour game of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that will make you want to play that game and experience these characters, that's the scene. It's amazing. It's actually incredible. I cannot stress enough.
Right.
How incredible it is. Like to see in motion. But no, man, like more series need a game like this, and it makes me really sad that they don't, but it makes me really happy that Sky got one and the Trails franchise kept going.
Yeah, honestly.
Like this, like we love these games. Like I think I can speak for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like we have not done what are we up to? Like 6-7 episodes of this podcast or something.
Yeah.
Each of which being multiple hours long, talking about this series, and we're like halfway through it, man.
It's crazy. Honestly.
There's a lot more Trails content coming from both of us because these are just games that like I'm so glad I got bullied into playing.
Yeah, thank God, honestly, because honestly, if not for that, I mean, we wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, I would have never met you.
Yeah, that's wild.
11 months.
Whew.
I can't even believe that. Dude, right?
That's so crazy. Where has the last year gone?
I
guess the Trails, huh?
To massive quantities of Trails brain rot.
Sheesh.
Is there anything else we want to say about this game before we wrap up?
No, just that, I mean, despite some of the things we said here, again, of course, there is a lot that is important. So if for whatever reason you've neglected this and you're listening, or neglected the game and you're listening to us now talking about it, go give it a shot. Go play it. You'll discover some details in there I'm sure we missed out on speaking on today. And you can let us know in the comments.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot about this game that we didn't cover, but like this...
Oh, yeah.
There's too much to talk about. Like,
very true.
I mean, case in point, like all right, I'm going to say before we wrap up, I'm going to say my actual blazing hot controversial, I will finally be canceled. Please, for the love of God, if anything to do with this will.
Ooh.
If there's a game, if you want to skip any game in the series, I would argue this is the one you can. Because everything important from it you can get from like literally like a 2-hour video on YouTube.
That's actually pretty fair because like we said early on, all of the stuff that you probably would be very interested in with this game is optional content. Like you can move forward and have not even having known it exists, and of course, life and the story will go on as it will, and probably still give you those details in other formats across the series as well. We have yet to really see like to what extent, but
like the main plot is brought up, but mostly in a that was a thing that happened, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's like that was weird. But yeah, like if you have to skip a game, this would be the one.
Yeah,
but like, man, just play it,
please.
It's the worst game in the Trails franchise so far that I've played, but it still puts it so far above every other RPG in existence.
Exactly.
Like
that's crazy, huh? That it still succeeds at doing that despite like being compared to, I guess, the rest of the games in its series, of course, like the lowest. Yeah.
It's wild, isn't it? It's just
Falcom
is just playing on a completely different playing field as everyone else.
Honestly.
All right. All right, well that's it. All right, I'm done. Now I'm actually done.
Yep.
Everyone,
Likewise.
thanks for hanging out. Felix, it's always such a good time. It's my favorite part of the week, getting to talk with you about video games.
Honestly, same. I get giddy every Thursday.
It's my I know. Same. Don't tell them we record on Thursdays. Don't know I'm a lazy editor.
Oh my god,
We gotta go. Bye.